Hollywood was never the same after this revelation. Ron Howard, the man the world once saw as the smiling red-haired boy on television, the man who grew up to become one of the industry's most respected directors, finally reveals the truth about what really happened behind the lights. The fame and the carefully crafted smiles. For decades, people believed he had the perfect story, childhood star who transitioned into a successful filmmaker without scandal or chaos. But behind that polished image was a lifetime of pressure, fear, and heartbreak that very few ever saw. Ron often said that fame feels warm at first, like sunlight. But stay under it too long, and it starts to burn. As a child actor on The Andy Griffith Show, he learned quickly that perfection wasn't optional, it was survival. Every mistake, every missed line, every quiet tear meant another headline. Another whisper that maybe the boy wonder wasn't so wonderful anymore. Years later, when the world saw him as the calm, kind director behind masterpieces like A Beautiful Mind, Ron still carried the same weight, the fear that if he stopped being perfect, the world would stop loving him. In interviews, he smiled politely when people called him Hollywood's good guy. But what he didn't say, what he couldn't say, was how much he sacrificed to keep that image alive. The nights spent awake, wondering if he was becoming the same kind of machine that once used him. The days he felt like an outsider in the world he helped create. The truth was, even in his moments of triumph, he felt empty, and the reason would shock even those closest to him. Ron revealed that his biggest struggle wasn't with fame, it was with silence. The silence that came after the applause, when the lights faded and the crowd disappeared. The silence where he was no longer Ron Howard, the director, but just a man staring at himself in the mirror, wondering who he really was. He once said quietly to a friend, "I learned to fake confidence before I ever learned to feel it." That single confession shattered the illusion that success could heal the loneliness that fame brings. His relationships suffered under that weight. Hollywood friendships built on admiration often cracked under envy. There were actors he couldn't work with again, not because of creative differences, but because success exposes everything: egos, insecurities, hidden grudges. For years, whispers floated through studios about tensions on set, about moments when the calm director's patience finally snapped. Ron never named names, but he didn't deny the truth either. "People see the finished film," he said once, "but they never see the blood you shed to make it." What many never knew was how deeply that blood metaphor ran. During one of his darkest years, while directing a film that pushed him to exhaustion, Ron found himself standing alone in an empty studio, long after everyone had gone home. The cameras were off, the lights dimmed, and for the first time he allowed himself to cry. Not for failure, but for the realization that he had become a ghost inside his own story. The man who could direct emotion but had forgotten how to feel it. That moment changed him forever. He began to see Hollywood differently, not as a dream factory, but as a fragile illusion powered by human pain. He watched young actors chasing the same sunlight he once did, unaware of the burn that followed. And while the world admired his calm wisdom, inside he wrestled with guilt. He felt guilty for surviving when others didn't, guilty for staying quiet while others were destroyed by the same system that crowned him a legend. When he finally opened up in a rare interview, his voice trembled slightly as he spoke about the toll of decades in the spotlight. "Fame doesn't change you," he said. "It just shows everyone who you already were, over and over, until you don't recognize yourself anymore." Those who heard him knew it wasn't a quote. It was a confession. The Hollywood golden boy was finally peeling off the mask. Even his family felt the weight of his career. There were birthdays missed, nights away, quiet dinners interrupted by calls that couldn't wait. Ron's wife once told a close friend that sometimes she felt like she was sharing him with the world, and Ron admitted that she was right. "Hollywood doesn't just take your time," he said. "It takes your soul if you let it." But in those words was also redemption, because he finally learned how to stop letting it. As he grew older, the ambition that once consumed him began to fade, replaced by something simpler: peace. The same silence that once haunted him became his sanctuary. He began spending more time away from the noise, surrounded by family, working on smaller projects, teaching young filmmakers not just how to direct movies, but how to protect their hearts from the machine that devours them. The revelation wasn't about scandal or betrayal. It was about humanity. The truth he revealed was that success isn't a cure for emptiness. No award, no red carpet, no glowing headline can replace the feeling of being known for who you are rather than what you create. For the first time in his life, Ron Howard wasn't directing a story, and he was living one that finally belonged to him. Hollywood was never the same after that, because behind every perfect movie and polished smile, people began to see the truth. That even legends bleed, even icons break, and even the kindest men can lose themselves chasing perfection. Ron's honesty didn't just change how people saw him. It changed how they saw the industry itself. In the quiet end of his confession, he said something that still echoes today. If I could talk to that boy on the set of the Andy Griffith Show, I'd tell him he doesn't have to be perfect to be loved. He just has to be real. And maybe that's the lesson Hollywood needed most. That greatness doesn't come from being flawless, but from surviving the weight of your own story and still finding the courage to tell it. As the camera fades to black, the man once known for shaping others' stories finally steps into his own truth. The world listens in silence, because sometimes the most powerful revelation isn't the scandal we expect, and it's the humanity we almost forgot.